Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the June 3rd Planning Commission meeting. I will call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum this evening. Thank you all for attending. First, we will open the meeting for public comments, if there are any.
No,
Ms.
ma'am.
Carolyn, no public comments this evening. Great. Next up, approve the minutes for the May 20th Planning Commission regular meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review? If there are no changes, I will take a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Ms. Jaco, please call the roll.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mr. Prince?
Aye.
Mr. Rollins?
Aye.
Mr. Wright?
Aye.
Vice Chair Overwater?
Aye. Okay, the minutes are approved. Thank you all. Starting off with some old business, we have a zoning application for approximately 1.37 acres located along Rushwood Drive to be rezoned from OG and RS8 to PCD. It is the Bellwood Office Park PCD. Mr. Wayne Belt is the applicant. Mr. Barbie, hello.
Good afternoon, Chair Overwater and members of the Murfreesboro Planning Commission. This application was previously reviewed by this board on April the 8th, at which time a public hearing was held. During that meeting, there was quite a bit of feedback from the public. They expressed concerns about traffic volume, traffic speeds, road conditions. I believe schools, drop-offs or bus areas were brought into play. As a result of this meeting, the applicant was asked to go back and look at different options for connections onto Rushwood and also provide some traffic data on what potential impact this development might have onto Rushwood if it were to be approved. The applicant has reached out to the property owner to the west. I believe that used to be a Farmers Finance building, and there are some additional offices in there as well now. The property owner has indicated that he has future plans for the property located between the building circle there and this development, and is not interested in allowing for a cross-access that might block his future plans. In addition, there was a traffic study conducted. Mr. Bill Huddleston with Huddleston Steel Engineering conducted that study. He is here with us tonight. Bill, would you mind trying to relaying some of the information? Oh, you're on this side. You moved.
Mr. Huddleston, you changed sides. I was looking for you over there as well.
Still trying to be on the good guy's side.
Keep trying, Mr. Huddleston.
I'm trying. Mr. Barbie said good afternoon, Chair Overwater. I'm going to say good evening. I'm Bill Huddleston with Huddleston Steel Engineering. We did do a traffic analysis for this project. First of all, we generated the trips that are projected for this project to generate, and for the square footage of office buildings that we're proposing, it would be a grand total of 209 daily trips. That would correlate to 25 a.m. peak hour trips and 32 p.m. peak hour trips. So you see the traffic will be very low that this project will generate. We also did actual peak hour counts out at the existing roadways, particularly Rushwood and at the intersection of South Church Street. There were 110 a.m. peak hour cars on the roadway and 50 p.m. peak hour cars on the roadway. So again, the existing traffic out there is very low also. We did do a speed data study also. We found that eastbound, the predominance of the traffic traveled between 21 and 30 miles per hour. And for the westbound, the predominant traffic traveled at 26 to 35 miles an hour. Both of those are expected and work well within the 30 mile per hour speed limit, which is out there. And these traffic studies showed a traditional bell curve as expected. So most of the traffic was going at the speed limit. Every once in a while you get somebody going real slow or real fast, but most of them are going around the speed limit, so the speeds are good out there as well. We even researched traffic data out at this area. There were 5 wrecks reported in 3 years, so very few wrecks reported out on these roadways, and none of them were fatal. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
And Vice Chair Averwater, I would also mention that Mr. Huddleston submitted that analysis to our Public Infrastructure Division. And Mr. Matt Fasig is here. He and Lee Smith reviewed the analysis, and they concurred with the findings of Mr. Huddleston. But they're here if you have any questions for them.
Great, that sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Huddleston.
Thank you.
I remember, before you sit down, we talked about landscape buffering, I recall, and just to, we're all on the same page with the landscape buffering to help mitigate the transition with the neighboring residential lots. Is that right, Mr. Huddleston? There's a pretty good landscape buffer we're planning for?
Yes, absolutely.
Good. Is that a type B?
It wouldn't be an E. I was looking for the landscape plan in the pattern book.
It's a type B along the
That-
southern property line.
Okay, it is B, okay.
Yeah, that sounds more like,
Yeah, 10-foot type B buffer, which is what we would normally see between office general and single-family residential.
You're talking about the the buffer on the driveway?
I was talking about the driveway specifically,
We had
yes.
talked about in a prior meeting that the buffer goes down the driveway to alleviate east and west.
And I see some on the plan, but
Yeah,
Mr. Huddleston.
there
what-
are definitely plantings on both sides of the driveway. It doesn't constitute a full buffer because we just don't have the width there to
Okay.
accommodate that. But we do have winding plants planted along both sides of that driveway to soften it on either side.
Okay,
So it's not a buffer per se, it's just
okay.
shrubbery and plants
Rubbery?
Shrub-
both sides.
Shrubbery,
Yeah, there's 28 plants on each side.
okay. Okay, are there any other questions or comments from Planning Commission? For Mr. Huddleston or for Mr. Barbie?
Thank you for going back and looking at the traffic. I think we had talked that none of us really thought there'd be a lot of traffic presented by the project. If there are no other questions, I'll move for approval subject to all staff comments.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Ms. Jacob, please call the roll.
Mr. Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Prince. Mr. Rollins.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Vice Chair Averwater.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Belt, and thank you, Mr. Huddleston. Enjoy your evening. Okay, public hearings and our recommendations to council under new business. We have a zoning application for approximately 30.17 acres located along Elam Road and Joe B. Jackson Parkway to be rezoned from GI to GI and PSO. Bucky's is the applicant, and I think that's Miss Stevens. Hello. You let Mr. Jones off the hook, and I am devastated.
I did let him off the hook. Had to leave a little bit early, but it's okay. Good evening, Chair Averwater and Planning Commission. I'm Teresa Stevens, the site administrator for the city. I'm here this evening to present to you a planned sign overlay for Bucky's. In addition to the staff report, I prepared a PowerPoint to highlight the proposed signage, along with how they would differ from what otherwise would be allowed by the sign ordinance. Sorry, just, well, there we go. I got it, thank you.
That's not true.
Oh, that's not mine, thank you so much, Kevin.
I know.
I pulled up the wrong.
He has signed up. Kevin has entered the chat.
He's good. He volunteered to make sure I stayed on track.
Talk about whatever you guys want.
Baseball.
I'm not sure how to get that off.
Here for IT assistance.
Yeah, there's a red mark on this. I have no clue how to get it off. Wow, it's a rough start, but we got it. The subject property is located at 3355 Elam Road, the corner of Joe B. Jackson and Elam Road. The property consists of approximately 30.17 acres and is zoned GI. The purpose of a planned sign overlay is to allow an applicant an opportunity to present a cohesive plan for their entire project that addresses everything from permanent building signs to temporary signs. The property has no existing signs located on it. The proposed PSO would allow 3 attached building signs, 3 attached canopy signs for each canopy, an interstate ground sign, a painted roof sign, as well as directional enter and exit signs and temporary signs, including a number of grand opening temporary signs. The following slides provide information as it pertains to the current sign ordinance as well as the proposed signs. The first set of signs are attached signs. These are signs that are attached to the building walls. By sign ordinance, we are allowed 3 attached signs per building, 2 square feet per linear foot of building front with a maximum of 150 square feet. Signs can be internally illuminated, externally illuminated, or non-illuminated. Buc-ee's is proposing 3 attached signs. Each sign measures, per the sign ordinance, at 575 square feet. I included per the sign ordinance because we measure a rectangle around the entire sign, so you can see that there's a little bit of dead space that is also included in that calculation. Signs are internally illuminated channel letters. The next type of sign they're proposing is a ground sign. Our sign ordinance allows 1 ground sign per parcel unless they meet specific requirements, and then you can have 2. Interstate on-site signs can be up to 50 feet in overall height, and the sign face area is a maximum of 200 square feet with internal illumination or non-illuminated. Proposed signs for Buc-ee's is 1 ground sign at 125 feet in overall height with a total of 750 square feet in sign face area, and it also is internally illuminated. They also are requesting a roof sign. These types of signs are not allowed by the sign ordinance. However, this one is for aerial view only, and it's 1 painted sign on the flat rooftop at 5,674 square feet. And to the right on the slide is the proposed in the site plan, and then on the left is an existing Buc-ee's, just to give you an idea what that will look like. Canopy signs are only allowed on a freestanding canopy, such as a gas canopy. Our sign ordinance allows 1 per canopy side with a maximum of 3, 50 square feet each, and 25 feet maximum height. They're proposing 1 sign on each side, north, east, and west elevations, for a total of 3 signs per canopy. They do have 2 canopies, so that would be 60, and they're at 64 square feet each. They are asking for 2 fuel description signs on the north elevation and on the south elevation of canopies 1 and 2 at 11 square feet each, and this adds an additional 44 square feet of sign area. These signs are approximately 30 feet in the maximum height. The next type of sign is equipment machinery signs. We do allow these by ordinance. You can have 2 square feet per linear foot of equipment to which they're attached. In the slides, you can see some examples of this. They're proposing various sizes on the ice machines, gas pumps, air compressor, pump, and other equipment, and these items can be found on pages 30, 40, 51, and 53 of their attached PSO. The next one is convenience signs. We do allow these as well at 3 square feet or less. There's no maximum number of these types of signs. They can be illuminated. Buc-ee's is proposing this type of sign. All of them are less than 5 square feet or less, and they're not illuminated. Temporary signs are defined as any sign by which reason of construction or purpose is used for a limited period of time. The proposed signs are considered what we would consider other temporary signs in our sign ordinance. You're allowed to have 3 per parcel, 16 square feet, and 6 feet in overall height. Buc-ee's is proposing the same type of sign. All their signs are 12 square feet or less and 3 feet in overall height. They also are proposing a banner over the permanent sign where Murfreesboro is going to go. They would like to put opening soon. That banner's 125 square feet. Banners are allowed over an existing sign for temporary purposes up to 90 days. And then they are requesting some temporary grand opening signs. We don't exactly specifically address this in the sign ordinance. They're just temporary signs. Streamers are allowed. Inflatables are allowed by permit. So they're asking for 5 to 7 strands per perimeter light pole, an inflatable at 25 feet tall and approximately 700 square feet, and 1 12-foot tall mascot at approximately 175 square feet. These will be displayed for 30 days, beginning at the grand opening. After this time, these will no longer be allowed. Buc-ee's representative is available if there's any questions regarding the PSO. I'm available as well. After questions have been answered, the Planning Commission should discuss, then conduct a public hearing and formulate a recommendation for City Council.
Thank you, Ms. Stevens. Any questions from members of the Planning Commission? Okay, if there are none, we will open the public hearing for this. If there are people in the audience here to speak at a public hearing, I will briefly go over the rules. Each person that wishes to speak on an item may come to the microphone. You will have 3 minutes. Someone will keep time. Maybe Reggie, can you keep time for me? Thank you. Mr. Harris will keep time for us. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. When your time is up, we will let you know and ask you to wrap up very briefly so that someone else can take their turn. If you'll ask all your questions to the Planning Commission, we won't answer them right away. We may not have the answers, but we will take notes and work on getting those answers at the end of the public comment period. Okay. Without further ado, we will open the public comment on item 6A. Anyone who wishes to speak for or against, please come forward. Going once, going twice. Great. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing. Planning Commission, thoughts on Bucky's application for the signage?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Ms. Jaco, please call the roll.
Mr. Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Prince. Mr. Rollins.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Vice Chair Overwater.
Aye. Okay, this item passes. Next up on our agenda, item 6B, annexation petition and plan of services for approximately 35 acres located along Franklin Road, Gresham Lane, and Almer Knott Drive, and including an approximately 2,400-foot segment of Franklin Road right-of-way and a 975-foot segment of Almer Knott Drive right-of-way. Franklin Road Baptist Church is the applicant. Ms. Smith, thank you.
Good evening, Planning Commission, and this particular item is a public hearing, and there is a annexation with a simultaneous zoning application for the properties, but they're slightly different areas, so it may be a little bit hard to notice, but as you're looking at the map attached here, the portion of the church's property along this side is actually in the city limits. It's actually currently was a planned development of the neighboring property that is already in city limits, so that is not included in their annexation request. But basically, the solid yellow enclosed area north of Almer Knott Drive is outside the city limits. That's part of their project request. And then the dashed line that you see overlaying the blue, and then a portion of Franklin Road and also Almer Knott, as you described in the linear footages. As you can see here, the blue area represents all of that area. Again, that area just to the left of the blue is on the church property, but is in city limits. So that's the main difference between the two application types. As staff looked at the project, there are 7 parcels involved that are listed in your staff report. And then also you can see here those 2 annexation areas as far as they're contiguous. Everything in yellow is in city limits already. As we're going further, we looked at a plan of services for the annexation, as well as posted it at the required locations. Biggest note is the church is already an outside the city sewer service customer. And so we're already providing services there. And additionally, we found out that Franklin Road is actually, we received some offsetting revenues to maintain that roadway already, even though it is outside city limits. And you'll notice on this particular exhibit, Franklin Road goes quite a way out, and that's really to fill the gaps that you can see, like half of Franklin Road further down is not included, so that way city has a better provision of services, but those are all TDOT right-of-way, so that would be offset by those fees, whereas Gresham Lane is already in city limits, and again, Almer Knott is not in city limits. In looking at our plan of services, you can see the existing uses there is, and you might have seen this before and say, gosh, isn't this here? This particular portion is already going through a zoning request, but it's not part of this particular project. Again, only the blue sections are, but you can see in close proximity, we have commercial type uses, single-family residential uses, and then in looking at the long-range plan for our, get to the right page. Okay, I didn't pass it. In our general plan, the area is designated public institutional. Part of that was because it was already owned by the church. And so the annexation for that particular property does show that we can provide services already with the sewer as shown on the map ahead of you. It already receives CUD water service. And again, there they say they do have a 12-inch line, and any future plans for expansion at the church would just need to submit for availability requests by CUD. Fire services, we're actually providing some rolling services directly adjacent to the site, but you can see fire services are within basically 1.5 miles to 2 different fire stations. And then it is adjacent to one of our school districts, but there is only 3 single-family homes involved in the project, 1 north of Almernot and 2 south of Almernot. So our school district has said that it would be in the Scales Elementary School Zone, but they don't see that as being a huge impact to the schools with only those 3 homes as part of the project. In looking at it, staff supports the annexation as it looks like it is consistent with our long-range plans, and we can provide city services. It is within our service infill line as well as the city's urban growth boundary on 3 sides. And we do not think the annexation of those will pose any issue for any of the delivery of services. So with that, the applicant is present in the audience. It has been noticed for a public hearing that we would like to open and take any comments on the project. And then after this item, we will separately discuss their zoning request that's being made concurrent with this particular project.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Smith. Does the applicant have anything to add? Are you here for the applicant, Mr. Huddleston? Okay, fantastic. Okay, if there is nothing to add from the applicant, we will open the public hearing for this annexation petition. Same rules as we discussed earlier. Reggie's my timekeeper. Should I need it? All right. Anyone who wishes to speak for or against, please come forward. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing. This is a talkative bunch tonight. And anything from Planning Commission on this annexation petition? I mean, it's pretty straightforward, and we've looked at this quite a few times already. Seems to be in order.
Make a motion to approve, subject to staff.
Motion and a second. Ms. Jaco, please call the roll.
Mr. Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Prince.
Aye.
Mr. Rollins.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Vice Chair Averwater.
Aye. Thank you, Ms. Jaco. Annexation petition is approved. Now let's discuss the zoning. Ms. Smith.
So this one's a little bit easier to see. Everything in color are those areas in which that annexation is being requested or not, but north of Almernot, they are not requesting a zone change automatically with our city's zoning because it's medium density residential in the county. It would automatically come in as RS-15 without any action on that rezone. The small sliver of green is currently PUD that they're wanting to get to be CF, which is commercial fringe. And then everything in the peach color is looking at it being going from mostly county, I believe it's all county RM, which is medium density residential, to CF commercial fringe in that particular property. As we were looking at the project site, we always look at, and here's a second map I told Mr. Huddleston that I thought that this one better showed some of the areas that county to RS north of Ulm are not. Just as a side note, not part of the resolution. The PUD portion, you can see what the existing zoning is. And then the pieces that are not involved, again, are these two pieces that are going through a PND zoning at the moment. And this one is staying CH. It would only be these other remainder lots between Franklin, Gresham, and Ulm or not that they are proposing that zone change. As we looked at our future land use for this area, again, as we mentioned in the last item, is it's looking at public institutional. Public institution allows for several different types of zone districts, and what it actually suggests to provide is CU, which PND, P, or other districts as evaluated on a case-by-case basis. We don't have an equivalent public institutional zone district, so it's a little bit different, especially for church sites. The applicant has asked for a CF use because the church and the school uses are allowed by right in that zone district, basically without any BZA approval, although we changed some of our codes recently to a lot of things don't go to BZA anymore. But the two residential uses would become legal non-conforming, which the church and the applicant is well aware of, and they are fine with that. As they anticipate over time, those things will probably change as the church campus changes. So with that, looking at things, staff supports this zoning request to CF for all those various pieces as we've discussed, because it is compatible with that public institution land use. A CF zone district is generally a good transition between adjacent residential uses, which you can kind of see some of those yellow off to the side on other side of Gresham Lane. And this property is at an intersection of a major arterial roadway and community collector road, which generally support higher intensity zoning districts. And then lastly, that CF zone district gives the church greater flexibility, whereas if they had a planned development, you have to really think through 20 years, and most people know those plans can change, ebb and flow as funding and priorities change for a church. So with that, the applicant is here, representative. In case there are any questions on this particular one, this one is also a scheduled public hearing that is looking for a recommendation to City Council for a second public hearing, we hope, in the near future. So with that, if you have any questions.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Smith. Anything from the applicant on this project? Okay. Anything from Planning Commission? We feel comfortable with the zoning that's proposed? Do we? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's a changing area. It's becoming increasingly more commercial, and we know that Franklin Road Baptist Church has been a great neighbor to the city for many years. So I will open the public hearing if there's no more comments from the Planning Commission. Anyone who wishes to speak for or against this project, please come forward. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. And I will now accept a motion for the zoning
to approve.
application. Thank you.
Second.
And a second motion and a second. Was that motion subject to all staff comments,
Was.
Mr. Rollins?
I'll make a motion for approval, subject to all staff comments.
And was there a seconded on that? Someone second that? Great. A motion and a second subject to all staff comments. Ms. Jaco, please call the roll.
Mr. Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Prince.
Aye.
Mr. Rollins.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Vice Chair Averwater.
Aye. Thank you, Ms. Jaco. You know,
Thank you, Commission.
boys, at some point we'll get it right, I promise. I missed that too. Thank you, Mr. Wright. All right. Next up, we have item D, an annexation petition and plan of services for approximately 16.78 acres located along Shelbyville Pike. Joe Avery Curtis Jr. is the applicant. Mr. Barbie.
Good afternoon again, Chair Averwater and Murfreesboro Planning Commission members. You previously reviewed this request back on April 15th. At that time, we reviewed the surrounding area, the surrounding zonings. Just as a refresher, the study area is currently zoned residential medium density in the unincorporated county. Hence the reason this is an annexation petition. Planning zoning application, which we will review here in the next item on your agenda, is for planned commercial district for a proposed Lowe's development. The study area is located within the city's urban growth boundary, and in addition, it's contiguous with the current city limits along its northern and western boundaries. The Murfreesboro 2035 Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Map identifies the parcel as future study area and is currently outside of the service infill line. This line is to help facilitate growth and development in the city in an orderly and planned and sustainable manner. A small area study is being conducted for this area with the expectation that the service infill line will be shifted to include the subject property and that the subject property will be designated as general commercial to match the current development pattern along South Church Street / Shelbyville Pike. Staff has prepared a plan of services for this request. All departments have responded and indicated that services can be provided to this property. Water is currently provided to the property by Consolidated Utility District, and all other city services can begin immediately upon annexation. Staff is supportive of the annexation request for the following reasons. Number one, subject property is contiguous with the existing city limits. Number two, it is located within the urban growth boundary. Number three, services can be extended to the subject property upon annexation. And number four, a small area study is currently being conducted for this area with the expectation that the service infill line will be shifted to include the subject property. The Plan Commission will need to hold any discussion that they have tonight and conduct a public hearing for the matter. After that's been concluded, they will need to formulate a recommendation for our City Council. I'm available if you have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Barbie. Okay, Planning Commission, this is an annexation petition for Shelbyville Pike. Anything from Planning Commission? Okay, I'll open the public hearing. Anyone who wishes to speak for or against?
Can you clarify, we're just talking about annexation and plan of services and not necessarily the zoning?
Sure. This is for, Mr. Wright is correct, this is for the annexation and the plan of services only. I don't think there's anyone here.
I know.
Anyone who wishes to speak for or against this annexation petition, please come forward. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. All right, and we will discuss the annexation petition. Well, I won't speak for Mr. Wright, but this is the type of annexation petition I like. It's a low impact on our city services, to our city schools, and it comes with sales tax revenue. So I'm in support of this annexation petition, but I will let you all make a motion when you're ready.
I'll make a motion to approve subject to all staff comments.
Is there a second on that motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Thank you. Ms. Jaco, please call the roll.
Mr. Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Prince.
Aye.
Mr. Rollins.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Vice Chair Overwater.
Aye. All right, motion passes for the annexation petition. Mr. Barbie, will you now speak to the zoning application, item 6E?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you again. This is the adjoining zoning request that goes along with the property now that it has, goes along with the property. The request is from Lowe's. They are requesting to zone the property to PCD simultaneous with annexation. It's currently 16.78 acres, and the intention use is for a Lowe's Home Center. You previously reviewed this application back on April 15th. At the time we discussed, one of the main issues I know that we've had before is with parking. In the plan book, they have agreed to identify specific areas for outdoor storage and identify screening types for that storage as well. They will provide the required parking will be in addition to these storage areas. The design is proposing required buffers along the northeast and southern property lines to provide protection for those adjacent properties. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. The applicant is with us tonight. They do have a presentation prepared, and right now I'd like to just step aside and let them make their presentation.
Figure out how to get it on the screen.
Plan book.
Yeah.
It's open on the taskbar. PowerPoint.
There you go.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Todd Simmons with Freeland and Kaufman, civil engineer on the project. I'll also have, as part of the team, I've got Travis Spicer with Lowe's and Trent Farrell with Blue Ridge Architecture in case there's any kind of specific questions to those matters that I can't answer. So I appreciate working with staff to this point. It's been a good process, got a lot of good feedback from them, and hopefully that helps us to be successful here tonight. I'm going to run through this fairly quickly. I think everybody's probably familiar, but far south end of town on Shelbyville Pike. I think Brad kind of did a good job of kind of explaining where we are. This is an existing conditions plan. I'm not really going to go through all these. This kind of maybe gives a little bit of a plan as to zoning around us. Obviously, we are in the county now. This is our parcel. The remaining kind of seller's parcel would be here and would remain in the county. You can see we've kind of have CH abutting us here. This would be the auto parts store. This, I think, is the convenience store, and then Walmart kind of sits up here above us to the north. Kind of go through or go to the site plan. Approximately 107,000 square foot building. That would be the building area here with an approximate 30,000 square foot garden center located on the south end of the building. This is a prototypical size for Lowe's and generally really, unless really extreme circumstances, the only size that they currently are building. Access kind of plan, we have done a TIA. We've worked with TDOT and the city as it relates to that. So if you look at access, we're making a connection here to Christie Knob Way, which will give us access out to the signal that's here on Shelbyville Pike. And we're also proposing a new median break here on Shelbyville Pike that will be kind of a three-way intersection. It will be a right in, right out, and a left in here in this location. And kind of what made the TIA a little bit different in this case is Volunteer Road and its proximity to, we've got the existing signal here, the proximity here, and then we are anticipating signalizing this movement as well. So kind of what we worked with City and TDOT on was making this also kind of a three-way movement. So Volunteer would turn into a right in, right out, left over, so it eliminates the left turn movement out of Volunteer. We really think that probably cleans up maybe a potential issue there now. So anybody wanting to go northbound Shelbyville would come, kind of make the U-turn movement here that would be signalized to kind of help protect that and go this way. So from a site access, we feel good that we've kind of created a good, safe situation there. I think Brad mentioned outdoor cell storage and display. A little bit hard to see on this plan, and I don't know if I can blow that up a little bit to see if I can. At least it's hard for me to see. So outdoor cell storage and display, obviously an important part of what Lowe's does as a business function. So what we're proposing would be kind of your typical kind of outdoor cell storage and display items along the front sidewalk. We've also got area here south of the garden center in the space provided here and here. This is fairly similar to what we would call the quick load, which is kind of your high SKU items that your mulch and things like that kind of you buy in store and then could be loaded for you. We have proposed kind of an extension of the garden center wall here as a screening element and a screening element here as well to kind of help minimize any impacts visually from that, from the parking area. Kind of additional areas we've got are utility trailers and sheds. We're proposing in, I think there's 11 spaces up here. And then we've got a seasonal area down in this area that we would kind of use during the spring season for that product when it's in high demand. And we do have that kind of proposed to be a kind of a temporary black fencing around that to help kind of minimize that visual impact as well. From a standpoint of, code and kind of exceptions that we've requested, I think we are, as we worked with staff, we are asking to do integrally colored CMU along the back wall. Obviously, what we're butting up against here is, residual, seller's residual land, which is all kind of wooded now. So the request there would be just to do that with, it has no visual impact really on anybody at that point. And then the use of a quick brick material, which I think is similar to what Walmart's used just north of this site on the material on the three other sides, the north, the west, and the south facades. And then there was some foundation plantings as it relates to code. I think there's a foundation planting requirement here on the north side that we've kind of asked to kind of put somewhere else on the site. Again, I think we've got an elevation difference from here to here. This is a commercial property. I think got a little far. This is commercial. We've got the residential starts here, but we've got a pretty good area of seller's residual land that acts as a good buffer there for anything, and then grade differences will kind of minimize any visual impact there. So we've placed that kind of elsewhere on the site. We do have a couple of planters along the front sidewalk, and then we've kind of placed kind of the foundation plantings more in the larger areas down here on this side. As Brad mentioned, parking-wise, we've kind of laid it out. The areas that we've used for the outdoor self-storage display are not counted in the parking. So we show a required parking of 273. We show a provided of 284. And that's not counting the 30 permanent, 31 seasonal, and 11 utility trailers. So you're looking at approximately 350 spaces, plus or minus. Give you an idea of the landscape plan. Really making sure that we at least meet code. We've got a type C buffer planned here on the north edge. And I think it's a type A buffer that's on the southern boundary, if I recall. This is a foundation repair facility that's in the county, so not a residential use or anything there. So a minimal buffer being proposed at that point, and then the buffer along Shelbyville Pike. Really, the idea would be to mimic what Walmart has done along Shelbyville Pike. So this is kind of just kind of remind you of what that looks like. We've got kind of a fence material with intermittent pillars, and then kind of supplement that with some shrubs and canopy trees along that. So try to mimic that and be consistent with what that area looks like. Give you an idea of what the building architecture looks like. Again, we've worked with staff on this. The front facade, the three facades, north, south, and west, would be the quick brick material, with the rear being the integrally colored CMU. And with that, I think I won't take up too much of your time. I am here to answer any questions you might have. I've also, like I said, I've got Mr. Spicer with Lowe's and Mr. Farrell with Blue Ridge Architecture to answer any kind of architectural or Lowe's operation questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, my first question, is there a red light at Tiger Hill coming by the Pet Boys that's going to send the traffic behind the Pet Boys?
There is a light at Tiger Hill, right? Yes, there's a light at Tiger Hill.
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that right in is going to look really good, and having that median in the middle. I think. Well, there's nothing there now.
You're talking about right here? Yeah.
Oh, we're talking about different areas.
Yeah, that'll be better.
Yes, it's going to be a good improvement, especially as these neighboring parcels continue to develop as well. I had a question on the black paneling that you discussed. That's just seasonal, or is it permanent?
In here somewhere. It is-
Right there.
This one right here?
Yes, sir.
That would be seasonal, so that's proposed just around the seasonal area,
And that's for which season? Like spring, like mulch?
spring area,
Okay.
spring.
So just in the spring? We're not
Yeah,
then
and I
going to
can't
use it for
remember if we-
straw in the fall, and then pumpkins, and then Christmas trees, and,
I may defer that question, Mr. Spicer, to confirm that.
doesn't sound like he wants to go on the record. I-
So Travis Spicer with Lowe's. Yeah, the intent, I think we
Looks
spelled
like
it
we were
out.
doing- We were doing March to end of July, March 1 to end of July is what we were spelling out.
Now, we do like to sell Christmas trees, so I mean, if we could get that added, like say November to end of December for Christmas tree sales, that would be ideal too. But, the intent is mainly spring selling season when we have the overflow of mulch and everything. You've been to the existing stores, so you know what we're talking about there. But we've defined it for that selling season. The 90 days of spring is what we call it.
Okay. But I-
Just that area right there, in between where the roads go.
yes.
And so we've done the permanent walls here and here to kind of help hide, this would be permanent. So we want to do the permanent walls to hide this area that's more permanent in nature.
Go to the,
That's not the garden center, is it?
so this is the garden center, correct?
I'm talking about the permanent walls he's referring to.
We're mimicking an extension of the garden center.
I
Leaving
see.
the drive aisle open. Let's go to the elevation. It might be better to show it. Here.
I'm sure you can imagine why I'm asking, since
No,
we're
you're-
having some issues with parking at our current Lowe's.
So, right here, right here.
Zoom in.
Oh,
It's just not the most user-friendly thing. So right here, really. So like the garden center is, we'll say, to here.
okay.
And then we're extending that screen wall there. There's your drive aisle. Here's another screen wall on the other side of that drive aisle.
And that was my question. So that's not part of the garden store area. That is storage,
Correct. Behind that
Perfect.
would be storage, screened from the parking lot.
permanent storage.
Yes, yes,
Got
ma'am.
it. Thank you. That was my question. I do not want this area of the parking lot to become permanent storage.
Understood, correct. Yep. So that screen wall again, sort of being here, this area being permanent storage, this area just being seasonal sales.
So what are you considering seasonal again? What date?
March
I
to
think
July.
we defined it like March through the end of
Shoot, March
July.
1 through July 30th.
So mulch season,
July
garden
what?
season.
Yeah,
March 1st through July 31st.
Can we go back to the landscaping buffer on the side that's closer to that volunteer? I'm just trying to see, is that a house right next to this buffer here? Is that residential or that's commercial right here?
on the south side,
Yeah, right there.
right here.
Yes.
There's a foundation company there, so it's commercial, I assume. It's in the county, but it's a foundation company of some sort.
I don't believe, Brad, I don't know if you know better on that or not.
County CS.
Yeah, County CS.
Can we go back to the fence you're proposing to put around the perimeter and what the material is there? I believe the Walmart on South Church, 231 here, has a black aluminum fence around it. I know the Walmart here was built very close in time to the one on Memorial. The Memorial facility has a white PVC fence around it. 231 has black, I think, aluminum, which the black aluminum looks really good. What's the material of this fence?
This is kind of a wood split rail fence with intermittent kind of brick columns. Is it brick or stone columns, I think?
Cross ties?
Kelly, are you referring to the fence that he's showing here near the
Yes.
street? Okay, so it's not aluminum, it's some sort of,
Yeah, it's a wood, it's a
Wood.
wood.
With your
Split rail.
brick posts connecting it every so many feet?
That's
or-
correct.
And you've got this fence around some other locations too, don't you? I've seen this at other locations, correct?
You talking about for Lowe's?
Yeah, for Lowe's.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we've got it at other locations.
That's what I thought.
Correct.
I'd like to see it black aluminum like the Walmart myself.
well, he's saying this is the Walmart.
No, that's him.
That's Lowe's.
No,
that's the existing
this is the
Walmart.
existing Walmart that's just
that's-
north of the
that's
site on Shelbyville Pike.
You're right.
Is this aluminum?
It's wood.
It's wood.
What road's up against here?
That's true.
Is this 231?
Yeah.
This is Shelbyville Pike.
I need to check my vision. When
Just go kick it a little bit, Kelly, see if it's wood or aluminum.
Trying to
Looks
see
like
if
we
we
got
had
a piece down here already, but I would have sworn it was black aluminum fence out there.
That's why I was asking Kelly, because closer to Walmart, I think they have some aluminum fencing. But you're talking at the street?
Yeah, the Walmart that sits up here is just off our map, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
Vice Chair Overwater and Planning Commission.
Yes, sir.
As staff, we did want to get some feedback from y'all. We're currently working with Lowe's for their current location, trying to corral some of the outdoor storage and come up with a plan in collaboration with them on something that works for them, but something that also is pleasing to the community and to the city leaders. And so we have proposed to them 3 months of outdoor storage, seasonal outdoor storage at that location. Here, they're proposing 5 months. We'd like to be consistent, but we'll defer to y'all as to whatever y'all feel is an appropriate duration. And if you feel that the 5 months that they're proposing for this location is appropriate for seasonal display, then that's what we'll try to go with at the other location. But we just want to be consistent between the two locations, and we would defer to y'all as to whatever y'all think is appropriate.
Let me ask you a question, might be more suited for legal department. Do we have to be consistent? And I ask because I feel as if this site plan as proposed is more intentional about where the seasonal area will go. And I feel as if traffic will move around that seasonal product more easily than it does at the current Lowe's location. I think we have some other factors at the current Lowe's, including Target next door. We have a little bit of a crazy, windy intersection happening there that is chaos to drive through. And so I'm with you, Mr. Blomley, in that I love consistency in our city. However, I do understand that Lowe's wants to sell mulch 5 months out of the year, and I need to buy mulch 5 months out of the year as a citizen in Murfreesboro. So can we be inconsistent here?
Yes, I think as long as the commission articulates the reason why you believe that this location is different than the other ones, and you already have done it to some extent, but what it is about this site plan that you believe, the intentionality that makes this more appropriate for a longer selling period. I think that it would be okay for you to allow a longer period here if you believe that the site plan is laid out in a way that makes that appropriate. And frankly, that would then incentivize Lowe's or whoever else wants to do a similar site plan elsewhere in the city to have more intentional space for their outdoor storage. They might get a longer selling period if they do. So I think that it would be appropriate for you to have to treat this differently than other locations.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tully. Yes, because I will stand firm in saying that we have a problem at the Lowe's on Old Fort, and I appreciate you and your team being willing to continue to work with us on that. I'm a frequent Lowe's shopper, and it's a dangerous parking lot. How much product we have in the parking lot there is dangerous to pedestrians and to cars, and I do understand your need for space. I'm very sympathetic to that. So for me, and Commission, I want to hear your thoughts as well. I feel as if if I'm a driver, I turn in here, I can go left or right very easy and never have to drive through or really interact with that seasonality area, which I like a lot.
Well, I'm good with that. From our standpoint, it's the big difference from the loads in the city and the loads closer in the county. So I'm good with it, and I think that seasonal period allows more people in that rural area to get product that they need. So I'm good with it.
Mr. Rollins, I've zoomed really tight in on the GIS on the fence, and the fence on adjacent to Joe B and 231 looks like a wood split rail, but the fence that is inward from it, closest to the parking lot, looks like a different style fence. So that Walmart may have two different fences, one out on the road and one facing the parking lot.
I was going to drive directly out there after this meeting.
We're trying to tell you you were also right, Kelly. We can all be right
I
here.
guess my point is I would like both fences to be very similar. I think they would complement each other versus something totally different, but I think that's what you're proposing.
That was our intent, yes.
Absolutely.
So I'm okay. What do the staff comments say about seasonality here, Mr. Barbie? Did the staff comments propose a shorter seasonality here? Do we need to speak to that specifically in a motion?
I didn't really have additional staff comments. They had proposed the 5-month seasonal period in the book, which I had not heard about the discussion with the ongoing situation with Lowe's on Old Fort. I thought 5 months seemed reasonable since it was additional space outside of required parking.
Yes.
So to me, it was not going to be an obstruction to access or circulation on the site, and it seemed like a reasonable time period in my opinion.
Okay.
I just think as long as you're using it for seasonal product, not rental equipment or storage of metal pallets, or, if they're not selling Christmas trees, they're not going to put them out there. And where else are you going to put mulch outside?
Right. But I think what Mr. Prince is saying is we would not, the way that it's written, we would not be allowing them to store their lawnmowers out there.
Correct. It wouldn't be an area where, those lawnmowers come in wood crates and they have to be opened and they have to be assembled. We definitely wouldn't want to see and wouldn't allow anything like that, those raw materials to come in prior to assembly. It's meant to be what we typically see in those areas now. It's seasonally, it's mulch, plants, potting soil, sand. Sometimes they have pavers.
Sure.
A good way to put it is it's a temporary seasonal extension of the garment.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That's a good way to put it, Mr. Prince.
And I did want to also mention that the beauty of this being a planned development is that we have something concrete that we can enforce or administer, whereas with the site plan that we have from the late 90s for Lowe's is a little bit more ambiguous, and we're trying to work with them with a site plan that's very dated. Here, we have something that's concrete, and we can point to them and say, look, this is what you have to adhere to. So I think that having this as a planned development helps us out a lot.
So where in here, Mr. Blomley, Mr. Tully, Mr. Barbie, does it specifically say or say what they can and cannot have in the seasonal area?
I'll defer that to Mr. Barbie.
I'll have to defer to them because I can barely read it. Do you
Because
remember when
should the people of Murfreesboro continue to reelect me, I don't want to be sitting here in 10 years when you all propose another Lowe's, and I am mad at you over this one.
I do not believe that I don't believe the pattern book currently addresses what can and can't be in there. We're in agreement with what Mr. Barbie said. I mean, it's not our intent to have lawnmowers out there or unbox things out there. So if there needs to be a condition on what that is, we're open to that.
Yes, please. And I'm okay if we approve it tonight, and Sean and I will see that at council. How does that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Y'all are okay with?
So you just want a generalization, mulch, landscape blocks, plants, just stuff like that?
Yes,
What we
please.
typically sell out there, that's all you're looking for?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And specifically, I want you to say that you're not going to put
Lawnmowers or anything like that?
No equipment.
So are you wanting a shorter time period?
I'm fine with 5 months. I just want some specificity on what materials we can and cannot sell in that area.
I believe the applicant also requested an addition of November and December for Christmas tree sales. I don't know if
Was that an official request or an off-the-hand comment?
Well, it would be, if I can make it an official request, I will, if y'all will approve it, so.
The
I
Boy
mean,
Scouts are not going to like that.
Well.
They sell Christmas trees.
But again, I mean, if we did it, it would still be in this area as well for those 2 months. But that's also a big selling, point.
I don't mind if it's always there, as long as it's got.
Why wouldn't you just make it a permanent area and dress it up a little nicer and just use it as you need it to?
Well, we're open to that too. But I mean, again, think about the need for the seasonal, it being the quick load. So, with this drive all, I don't think we want it there all the time. I mean, we want to be able to get people in, load them, and get them out. So if you make it permanent, we'll have stuff out there that won't allow for that, and they'll be using it for something else. So it's pretty customary to what we're doing everywhere. It's seasonal. We know we have that influx of goods in the spring, and we just can't house it all in the building. So this is a way to take care of that and meet the sales.
I think we're good with accommodating this location. I think we're only speaking on this location. I think we would just like to accommodate this location.
And it sounds like they don't wish to make it
Right.
permanent and dress it up. So I'll defer to you on that business decision. Okay, those are all the comments I had. Egress and ingress is great. We've talked about the permitted storage, which is also fantastic, and it is adequately parked. So I have no other questions. We have not yet held a public hearing on the zoning application. So are there any other comments before I do the public hearing?
No, please do the public.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, applicant. Thank you, Mr. Barbie. I will open the public hearing on this zoning application. Anyone who wishes to speak for or against, please come forward. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing on this zoning application. If there are any other comments from Planning Commission or the applicant, if not, I will accept a motion subject to staff comments and also subject to the revision about supplies. I can't make a motion. I cannot make a motion, so I'm trying to help you make a motion, Mr. Wright.
Move for approval subject to all staff comments with the revision of the outdoor storage area.
Second.
I think that was a motion and a second. Ms. Jacob, please call the roll.
Mr. Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Prince.
Aye.
Mr. Rollins.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Vice Chair Averwater.
Aye. Thank you. That motion passes for the zoning application. Thank you, gentlemen, for talking through those items with us. Okay, we have item 6F, a proposed amendment to the zoning ordinance related to automotive motor vehicle repair and service uses and pertaining to Chart 1 uses permitted, including Chart 1 endnotes. City of Murfreesboro Planning Department is the applicant. Mr. Blomley, hello.
Hello, thank you, Vice Chair Averwater. The first thing I wanted to do, though, is to thank Mr. Barbie and Ms. Smith. Both of those annexation and zoning combo requests were items that were in Mr. Donovan's area that they took over, pitching in, being great team players, and annexations and zonings, including plan developments, take a lot of time and effort, and so we appreciate them being great team players and pitching in and helping out. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Barbie.
All right, so our zoning ordinance amendment tonight is what I presented to you at the last day meeting. It's to help curb some of the potential negative impacts of automotive service and repair uses. So we're proposing 2 additional design standards for those uses. Number 1, no automotive or motor vehicle repair use or automotive motor vehicle service use, where such use is the principal use of a property, shall be located less than 300 feet from any other such use, and such distance shall be measured from property line to property line. And that's sometimes the negative impacts that are just by the very nature of the use could be magnified when there are multiple such uses clustered together. The second one is all repair work or service work associated with an motor vehicle repair or service use shall occur inside of a building, and no such work shall occur outside of a building. And the reason for that is that we've gotten some requests over the last several years for people wanting to go into existing buildings that were not constructed, not originally developed for that kind of use. They don't have overhead doors, they don't have service bays, and what ends up happening is with there being nowhere inside the building to conduct those activities then spill out outside of the building into the parking lot. And so we are proposing that those types of activities be confined to within a building. We've advertised this as a public hearing tonight, and so we'll need to conduct a public hearing and then discuss and then formulate a recommendation to our city council. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Blomley.
Mr. Bromley, I guess I may have been part of this coming forward. There are some usages downtown especially that have lots of storage to the point that some of the cars are running out in the street or campers that are being used as parts warehouses or something on site. How does this affect businesses that are already in business doing this stuff?
So if businesses are legally established, and by legally established, they went through all the proper channels to set up shop, then they would be grandfathered in. And this addresses the, it doesn't address the storage of vehicles, but it addresses proximity to one another and the activity that's conducted outside of the building. But what it would do is any new such uses would have to comply with these standards. And certainly if there are those uses that were not legally established, then we could look at those on a case-by-case basis to determine if they're in violation because, and Mr. Tully, correct me if I'm wrong, but if something was not legally established, then it would have no grandfathering rights.
Correct. Yeah.
Sounds good, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sean. We will now open the public hearing for this proposed amendment. Anyone who wishes to speak for or against, please come forward. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing on this amendment. And any other discussion or motions from commission?
Move for approval? Move to approve that?
Second.
I have a motion and a second, and Mr. Prince's smart comment. Ms. Jacob, please call the roll.
Mr. Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Prince.
Aye.
Mr. Rollins.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Vice Chair Averwater.
Aye. Okay, the motion passes, and we will see that again at council. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Will there be another public hearing at council?
Yes, ma'am, there will be.
All right, item number 7, staff reports and other business. Mr. Blomley?
The only thing that I have is just a reminder that our next meeting will be on June the 17th at 1 p.m.
June the 17th at 1 p.m. Fantastic. Mr. Newman, anything from you? No, ma'am. Okay. If there's no other business, we will adjourn and see you all on the 17th. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Oh, thank you.